Good morning to everyone. Thank you for tuning in today. I am Sibo from SvanTech UK. I'm going to tell you a bit about myself and what I currently do at SvanTech UK. Currently, I am the technical support team lead, and my previous background was in audio engineering. And I would like to tell you a little bit today of what we're going to be covering. So in today's webinar session, I'm going to be covering some of the basics functionalities on SvanPC++, how you can download files from your sine level meter onto your PC and using multiple files in one working book. And I'm also going to cover a little bit more about in terms of using the environmental module calculator on SvanPC++. Right. So as you can see, I've got my screen open. We're going to look at once you have downloaded your files onto your PC, and we're going to open a session. So once you open your session, once you open your SvanPC++, you go to Open File or Add File, and it will give you a file path that links you to your PC and where you currently have got your data files stored on SvanPC++. So here are my example files that I'll be using today. So these are the 4 files that I've been doing. I've been doing measurements, let's say, over 4 days. So what you can do on SvanPC++ is you can either open each individual file separately, or you can merge all of these data files into one multi-file, which I'll show you how you can do that. So we're going to start by selecting all of the files, and we go to Open. And as you can see, SvanPC++ will prompt you that you can open each file separately. So this might be in a situation where you have done a 2-week survey and you've got about 14, 15 different files from each day, and you want to open all of those files into one workbook. So what we're going to do today is we're going to merge and open. So as you see, when you select merge and open, it will prompt you and it will create a multi-file. And we select save, and SvanPC++ will merge all of those files. And as you can see, it will tell you all files have been selected. What you might find is that if you have changed settings in between or middle of your survey, so those files would have a different settings and you won't be able to merge. So when you do merge these files, just make sure that the settings haven't been changed along the route. So as you can see, SvanPC++ has opened my files that I've been working on over the past 4 days. What you firstly see is on the middle of the page, you get your chart. And if I move up, and on the right hand side, you will also get, sorry, let me just move that. And on the right hand side, you will also get a configuration tab. And inside the configuration tab, it will show you all of your sine parameters, which would have been selected on your sine level meter and what's available to you. So on a configurator, you have your time history and you have your summary results. You might ask yourself, how does this relate to when you configured your sine level meter? So if I open the header info, and inside the header info, I have the file will show me my unit that I've been using and how I've had configured that unit. Let's take a look at, so let's take a look. It will tell you your date and time, what function, device function you have selected. And the key part is your integration period. So as you can see, mine is currently set to 15 minutes. And how this relates to on your data file, when you look at your configurator, your integration period is your summary results. So at the end of the integrating time period, you get a summary or you get a result at the end of that period. So that might be at the end of 15-minute period, I might get 65 dB, for example. And if I keep scrolling down, I will also have calibration information, my logger step. So my logger step is my time history period. So in these instances, you might be able to use these two time periods together for different requirements. So you might have a period where during the day, you're only interested in a 1 hour LEQ, for example. So in my instant, it's 15 minutes. And then at night time, you might be interested in a 15-minute LEQ. But you can use this to whatever it's best suitable for your needs when you are carrying out that survey and when you are looking at that the data. I will also tell you a bit about the logger results and all of the summary result mask and what I have currently selected on my summary period. Main results, I have like a spectrum, I'm doing statistics, histogram, spectrum histogram, and we'll also tell you a little bit about the salivmeter setup, so microphone input, microphone compensation, if I've got that turned on, if I'm using like a windscreen, yes or no, a pre-calibration, and it will also tell me my frequency range, so I'm measuring up to like 20 kilohertz. And these are and also inside my header info, it will also tell me what I have got selected on my logger content. So by default, you will be measuring 3 profiles simultaneously together. So as you can see over here, I've got profile A, I've got profile 1, 2, and 3. As you can see, it's showing me like A, C, and Z weighting. And these are the different parameters that I'm measuring in these profiles. And as you see over here on my configurator, I also have my summary, I have profiles. If I minimize that for now, I have profile 1, 2, and 3, which relates to my AC and Z weighting. So whenever you are looking at your data, you always know what profile you're currently looking at. So what I'm going to do now is show you how you can generate some markers and set some limit lines for your report. So as you can see over here, I have got 4 days worth of data all merged into this one chart so that it'd be easier for me to export if I need to. However, this is sort of like crunching the numbers to sort of like fit all of the data in one chart. But what I'm interested in looking at is looking at the true values. So by default, it will add a logger step just to compress that data together into one chart. However, if I go next to aggregation and change my logger step, and I change it to a factor of none or factor of none equals 1. And as you can see, my cursor, I will be able to scroll through each of the day's data that I currently have on my data file. And what's really cool is, as well, as you can see on my configurator, I've got selected my time history, I've got my summary results, and as well, I also get high vibration markers. So in this instance, I will also be able to detect whether there has been like interference in my recordings. Maybe, for example, at the start of my survey, I might have like accidentally tapped above the microphone and created like a huge spike. And you can sort of like use these features to sort of like identify any abnormalities on your results. So for now, I'm just going to untick that and just close this page for now. And at the moment, if we go into my summary results, I have got my LEQ selected. I've got my L10. So if I untick this for now, and then I'll show you in a second. So on my summary results, I have got my LEQ, which is marked in green, which is like these green lines going across. And I've also got a time history of like a 1 second measurements so I can see what was happening inside that 15-minute window, or how I've exceeded any limits, if there are any limits that I'm working against. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to add limit lines on SvanPC++. So if I right click and go to limit line settings, as you can see on mine already by default have these limit lines preset, but you can change the values so that they are suitable to your needs. So if I select on the little settings cog on the bottom left, I will then open up my graph view limit lines, and I can set my limit lines accordingly. So if I change this one, let's say it's, I'll leave this one 70, and I can change this one to 65, and next to it on the text I can add whether it's my red limit or to my amber, and then I can go over here, change it, and then if I press cancel, and then here, as you can see, I have a red line and an amber line. It tells me up whether I've exceeded those. Oh, actually, if I right click again and go back to limit lines, I can change my text. Let's say 65. And as you can see over here on my chart, I have a red line and an amber, and that means that I can see at which point of my survey I have exceeded that 15-minute LEQ window. You can scroll across, and that will help determine, just a bit of, give you a visual cue when there have been any exceedances or any threshold exceedances. That what I can also do as well is you can also change the colors as well if you want to. So on my chart, so if I right click and let's go to global marker, no, sorry, that's the wrong one. So if I go to my local plot settings, I can change my background colors if I want. So my background color sheet at the moment, it's white, so I can change it to black. So if you find that, you know, working off like a white background, it's not clear, you can change to like any color possible if you want. And then as you can see, it would give me my, right, and I can also change my LEQ because that red time history is clashing with the, if I change that to blue. And then you can kind of give you a clear illustration of your data. And from here onwards, what you can also do as well is if we go onto your configurator, you can also select whatever parameter you need. Profile 1, you see A rated, so I can select my LEQ, so I've got a summary. And as well, I also have an LEQ histogram. So if I am interested in exporting any data, for example, I'm looking at my L10, and I can also bring in like my L90 onto the chart as well. As you can see, this the color clashes. I can change this to whatever colorable is suitable. And what you can do from here as well is, if you are happy with how the current chart is being displayed and shows all of your information, and you would like to export this onto your report, what you can do is just above the chart, you can send this to your Word document, and it will take a snippet and export it to the Word document. And also what you can do as well is, if you want this in a table format, you can simply just select table, and as you can see, it will change the values into a table format, and I can export this to my Excel sheet or use it for my reporting. As you can see, I've got a time history and a summary together in one table. What I can do, I can change that by unticking my time history LEQ. It will then give me my values in a 15-minute interval for my LEQ. And I can export this to my Excel document or my Word document again. So if I change this back to, and also I can change this back to the table view, and you also get a zoom tool. So at the moment, everything is zoomed out. I can use my zoom tool to zoom in. So just slightly above the chart, there's a zoom tool, so you can zoom in and out your chart. And also what I'd like to show you is so on the top of your SvanPC++, there's also a header information. There's main results, logger results, and you also get your 1/3 octaves. So this is when you have selected the 1/3 octave function on your sine level meter and you're capturing the data. So by selecting this, I can have a picture of my spectrum, and it will tell me time history. Well, I can select my summary results. And as well, same goes for my spectrum view chart. I can change this into a table, and it will show me the frequencies. And as well, if I want to view my spectrogram as well, I can select it as well. And you can also export that to your Word document if you need to. So what I'll do for now is I will close my LEQ, and what I would like to show you next is working using your environmental calculator to recalculate some of this data. So for example, let's say that I am interested in looking at a daytime LEQ and a nighttime LEQ, or I want to change my LEQ from like a 15-minute LEQ to like a 1-hour LEQ, or I can change it if I want to look at my data like in a 5-minute LEQ increment. So this may vary depending on what's required for you. So if I go to tools and I go to calculator, and I can go to time history analyzer, and inside my time history analyzer, if I close this, and you would see that I'm able to, so essentially what you can do using the environmental monitoring calculator, you are able to recalculate any of these parameters available to you. So it could be like LEQ, or even recalculating your 3rd octave data into first octaves. So let's take a look at an example over here. I would like to calculate my LEQ in 1-hour intervals. I can set multiple parameters to do the calculator, but first let's look at this one. We can select the 1-hour LEQ. Let's say I want to recalculate my max from a 15-minute period to like a 1 hour. And I would just select my LEQ and channels and profiles. So this, but it will recalculate all 3 profiles simultaneously for you. Parameters, we just in a standard calculation, and then we can go on to calculation periods. So under calculation periods, if I go to intervals, I can select don't accumulate. So essentially don't carry numbers over when calculating. And I'm only interested in the total values. I don't need any running values. And under my interval, I can change this to 1 hour. And this would be like my file start date and when I want it to stop. If we take a look over here as well, is we are calculating the whole data. So you just select whole data. And what you can also do as well is if you want your data to be, you can also adjust the timestamps by shifting the start time forward, or like shifting the end time back, so that you have a 1 hour LEQ. Let's say, for example, on this one, I would just leave it as it is. So you can change the start times and the stop times so that you have like an accurate 1 hour reading. So if I do calculate, and as you can see under my total results, it will bring up a second window on the left hand side, which will show me my LEQ periods for 1 hour that have just recalculated. So how this is typically calculated, this uses your time history period to recalculate. So if you have a shorter time history period that you are using to log your data, for example, in my instance, it was I'm using the 1 second data to recalculate to upscale my value so I can get a 1 hour LEQ. The only thing that you can't do is to be able to downsample your results. So if your shortest time period is 15 minutes, for example, that there would be your minimum time period. You'd be able to recalculate your data. You cannot downsample it. And as you can see, I have my profiles all. I can just then, as you can see, I can just untick my results that I don't need. So profiles 2 and 3. I'm only interested in profile 1, A weighted, and I can export these onto a Excel sheet. Now, let's say that you are accustomed to recalculating your data for 1 hour intervals, or you're recalculating your data for a 15-minute, whatever might be the case. What you then start to do is you are able to use certain shortcuts to save you a little bit of time. So if I go to my view and I select my calculator toolbar, as you can see over here, I already have got one shortcut predefined so that I don't need to go into the calculator. I can just simply come over here, click on my 1 hour LEQ. It will recalculate my results for me so that I'm able to get a 1 hour LEQ. So if I go to tools again, calculator, time history analyzer, under select and save settings, as you can see, I already have one predefined, 1 hour. And what I can do is set up another one. So let's say that I want to recalculate my daytime, nighttime LEQ. So over here on SvanPC++, we have our day and our night. So profiles 1, 2, and 3. And then we can go onto parameters and we can tell it that our night shift starts and the night times end. And then it will be able to use that time to give us a daytime LEQ and a nighttime LEQ. And then if I go to calculation periods, and if I untick this, and if I do calculate, and then as you can see on my total results, if I untick the rest of the results that I don't need, and over the past 3 days, it would give me like an LEQ. So that's my nighttime LEQ over like the past 3 days. And this would be the same as well if I need to do so for the daytime LEQ. So if I go to my time history analyzer, and I can save those settings. So if I do save, and I can call this my and I can select OK. So as I have that pre-saved, I can close that and go to my toolbar that I've brought up over here, my second calculator, and I can go and assign that shortcut. And if I go back to my time history analyzer, and what we then can look at is being able to recalculate your data from third octaves into your first octaves. So if I, just to make it a little bit clearer, if I close my worksheet down and close that, and I can go to my calculator, time history analyzer again. And I can I can select my LN octave. Oh, I think I've selected everything on this one. If I just, I can go to band recalculation. So I'm not interested in tonality, or you can also recalculate your filters. So I'm just interested in band recalculation. So we'll go to my parameters, third octaves into like my first octaves. And then if I just untick my, and then bring my logger, and then over here, as you can see, I've got first octaves and third octaves logger. So I can open my histogram. And then here you have it. This would be my first octave frequency band. And as well, I also get a total AC and Z weighting in my spectrum. I can also change this into a table, as I explained. And I can export the results onto my workbook on Excel, or if I want to, I can just simply just send this to my Word document. And then if we go back to time history analyzer, select my calculator again. So as I mentioned, you are able to calculate any of these parameters that you need to recalculate to upscale data. So you can even recalculate your filters, go from a Z weighting to an A weighting if you need to on your results. So this could be like probably like a mistake that you would have made when collecting your data. So therefore, you need to recalculate and readjust the value so that it's suitable for you to generate your report and export those results onto your report and present to your client. And what I would like to say is thank you for tuning in today. If you have any other questions, please feel free to email support@svantech.co.uk. Thank you.